Hello and welcome to week 5. You are at the halfway point now. I hope you're enjoying the readings so far, as well as the assignments. I have really enjoyed reading all of your discussion board postings, and I'm enjoying reading your annotated bibliographies as well. I'm working on grading those this week, but hopefully what you got from that particular assignment is that we can take any high quality children's literature and we can actually adapt it to whatever age group we need. I was so impressed by the way that you were able to use the information from our text to be able to support the ideas you had for using books that primarily would be used with preschoolers to be able to be used with infants and toddlers as well. So one of the main purposes of that assignment is so that you can kind of start your own library. You've already had to look up 10 different children's books. You've already had to summarize them, and you've already had to come up with ways that you should be able to actually use them with different age groups. So that should be the beginning of your little library. And again, I really try and make the assignments more applicable and practical so you can use them in the future. So for this week, you're going to move into the preschoolers, and this is where most students in the CHD program are looking to be. So you're going to be looking at chapters 6 and 7 this week, which is going to be talking about emergent literacy in preschools. One of the things that I wanted to mention, I wasn't sure if you were aware of, but in the state of Virginia, we have something called the QIS, which is the Quality Improvement. It used to be called Star Rating System, but recently they have transferred over to Quality Improvement. And basically what that was centers had the opportunity to volunteer to have someone come in and rate them. And they were looking at their physical layout of their classroom, the interactions that the teachers are having with the children, the materials that they have in the classroom. They're looking at the schedule, whether or not it's developmentally appropriate for the particular age group that they're looking at. And so what you're reading about in these chapters is what we are looking for when we go in and do ratings of these centers. So I have been fortunate to be able to go in and do some of these ratings. And I can tell you that I've seen some of the best ones and I've seen some of the worst ones. If you follow the information that's in the book, you are going to have a high quality classroom. Hopefully what you've noticed if you've started working on your observation is that when we actually take the standards and we're trying to determine whether or not a child is at their particular age level, their developmental level, but what really we're looking for are those signs that a child is developmentally ready to read and write. So preschool is obviously going to be one of those stages where we're really going to see a big jump. So what you're going to find as you go through these chapters is that it builds on what we talked about in all of the previous chapters. When we talked about the importance of oral language development, you're going to find that that is the foundation of emergent literacy in preschoolers. When we looked at what we should be doing with infants and toddlers, that is going to build so that when we get to the preschoolers, they're really going to be ready to have that reading and writing, those experiences. So everything really kind of builds on each other. And so as you start reading these chapters, you're going to notice a little bit of repetition, but what you're noticing is that with each age, we're expecting a little bit more out of the children. But the thing is that if we're doing what we're supposed to with the infants and the toddlers, then the preschoolers are going to be ready when they are presented with books, writing materials, and the opportunities to read and write. So preschool is a very, very exciting time. And again, that's where most early childhood students are looking to be. So these chapters should be really beneficial to you. So a few things that I just kind of wanted to mention for this week. The first one is there is not a discussion board for this week. So again, as long as you are logging into Blackboard, that's going to count as your attendance and participation. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that anytime there are additional resources for you, that's what they're there for. They're just meant to be resources. They're not meant to stress you out, overload you. It's just there's so much information when it comes to reading and writing with young children that I want you to have the resources available to you. But please do not freak out and think that you have to watch every single video and you have to read every single article. What I would encourage you to do is at least bookmark them. You can save the articles, you can bookmark the video sites so that you can go back to them when you have time. But again, they're not meant to overload you and to make you do additional work. But there's just so many great things out there that I wanted you to have them. The last thing that I wanted to remind you about is the tasks button. The reason that I put that in there is because I know that, especially with those of you who are taking more than one class, due dates start to run together. Assignments sound similar and you're not sure what class it's for. So please don't forget when you look over on your left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see the tasks button. And so when you click on that, it is going to show you everything that you're doing and when it's actually due. When I'm finished grading an assignment, I'm going to take it off the tasks button so that it doesn't confuse you. But please just don't forget that the reason that it's there is for you. It's to help you keep track of the different assignments. The last thing I'm going to mention for this week is the assignment that you have, which is called the Centers assignment. It is a very simple assignment. It is not meant to be something that's going to take you an extraordinary amount of time. But what it is there for is for you to actually start thinking through, how am I going to make sure that I'm promoting reading and writing in all of the centers that I'm going to have in my classroom? Now, in a high quality classroom, you're going to have centers like nature and science, math and numbers, fine motor, art. Most of those are obviously not going to be heavy in reading and writing. But the thing is that in order for children to really have a good head start, they really have to be immersed in print. And so this assignment is simply asking you to think of 4 different centers that you would have in your classroom and how you would actually go about putting reading and writing materials, ideas in those centers. So when you look at the assignment, it is on the assignment tab as well as in the week 5 folder. All I'm asking you to do are to think of 4 different centers and how you would like to implement some literacy materials in those centers. There are a couple of examples for you. I would not expect this to be more than 2 pages. Really, I would make it as simple as possible and maybe have 4 different Roman numerals. And so with each one, tell me the title of your center. Again, nature, science, math and numbers, fine motor, art, blocks, sand and water. There's so many that you can actually choose from. So tell me the name of the center and then give me a very strong paragraph about how you're going to implement literacy skills into that particular center. I would definitely encourage you to use some of the information from the chapters that you've read for this week, simply because it provides the defense that you need to show why it's so important to really immerse children in print. So I think that's it for this week. Again, you're at the halfway point, so you've only got 5 more weeks to go. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.